We're a family of 7. There's my husband Jason, myself. We have a blended family of 5 children. There's Taylor, Brianna, Manuel, Kaylee, and Jackson. Jackson's the youngest. Jackson was 2.5 when he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia on July 2nd, 2014. 2 weeks prior to Jackson's diagnosis, we were on vacation with some friends.
Well, initially, at the beach, the first thing we noticed is his color wasn't really right, Didn't really think a lot of it, And then that night, he actually got sick, Again, kids get sick, that's part of it.
The next evening, we were headed down to the beach to take some pictures. And on the way down, I was taking pictures of Jackson, and I just had this overwhelming feeling of sadness come over me because I had a vision that Jackson was going on a journey and I couldn't go with him, and I started to cry.
Michelle was really worried about it, more so than normal. So the next day we made the decision to go ahead and come home.
My husband took him to the pediatrician and they did some tests, and I was working at the time when I got the call from my husband. He said, "We're on our way to Children's," and I asked him why, and he didn't answer. And at that moment, my heart sank.
When the doctor tells you, that they're going to test your son for leukemia, I got hit with a ton of bricks. As a parent, watching your child go through this, it's, it's different. It's different phases of reaction, and emotion of what you go through. Overall, especially in the beginning, it's helplessness. Any problem your child has, it's my job as dad to fix it, and this is one I couldn't fix.
I feel like you've been swooped up into a tornado, and then once you get the diagnosis, it's like you've just been dropped. And at the same time, you're relieved because you know that there's a protocol in place, that the prognosis is good.
My expectations in the beginning are nowhere near the reality of his situation. I expected the kid that was always tired, sick, nauseous, that kind of thing. And luckily with him, we haven't really had a lot of that to deal with. He's still a ball of energy, still running, playing, doing all the things that a normal kid does, unfortunately within the confines of the house. With the lowered immune system and all that, we don't get to go, we don't get to go to the park, to the mall, to the movies. So the biggest change for him is, I guess, the confinement of having to stay at home all the time and avoid public interaction.
Jackson has been in treatment for 7 months. He's responding excellent. He is almost to the maintenance phase, which we're really looking forward to because we'll get to take him out to do things. He'll get to go swimming and have a summer that he didn't get to have last year.
For Jackson's future, I see a bright future. He, as of right now, he's going through more than any 2 or 3-year-old should. If he can get through this, he can get through anything in life. He could look at someone and say, "I beat cancer when I was 3, what did you do?" I think it's going to breed a lot of character in him. I think he's going to be a stronger person for this, on the other side.
Our hope in sharing Jackson's story is that people can see that he isn't being knocked down by this, that he is still the same lively little boy that he's always been, and this cancer isn't going to get the best of him.
My name is Lily. I go to Grace Christian Academy. I'm 14 years old. I'm in 9th grade, and I was diagnosed last year, September 30th, with ALL T-cell leukemia.
Lily is sweet and tender-hearted and has a great group of friends, and she's our little fashionista, Anytime we're trying to put an outfit together or getting ready to leave, we always have Lily give us the once over, and she'll give us a scarf or a necklace or tell us we need pearls instead of dangly earrings, or run and get us a bracelet. That's kind of her little niche. And but she's a good girl. Good girl.
When I first found out I had leukemia, I was kind of like confused, and I was kind of in the mind state of, why did this happen to me? Why did God choose to, place this on me? It was kind of like a punch in the stomach. So I was so scared.
We just have an excellent support system. I tell my girls, we may not be a conventional family, but we have, grandparents and aunts and uncles and, cousins and just great friends. And so everybody kind of rallied around us. It was just amazing to see just so many people from so many places that just committed to pray for us daily, and just to see how the Lord worked in just little ways, from somebody bringing me a hot cup of coffee in the morning, just not coming in, just a cup of coffee, to, big things. It was amazing.
The first thing that I asked was, am I going to lose my hair? I was so upset because I had long curly hair, and that was what everyone had always complimented me on.
And a dear friend of ours knew a lady that cut hair, and she talked to her, and she came to our house. So I went first because I thought it would make it easier for Lily if they shaved my head first so she could see it and know what was happening. After seeing me, I think that helped her a little bit. So she sat down, and she really did all right. And then my mom shaved her head. So she made our picture and posted it on Instagram, and she really did, she struggled some. And that, of all the sick, and she was sick, but the hair was the hardest part.
I've learned that I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was. I thought that I was kind of like this 13-year-old girl that just, went through the motions and kind of didn't really think that if push came to shove, I could be strong enough to go through something like this.
She went into maintenance in probably late April, early May. She was able to go back to school in the fall. School worked with us, and so she had to do a lot of school this summer, but she was in 8th grade when she was diagnosed. But they worked with her so she could start in high school, and that was really important that Lily stay with her class. So one day I had taken her to school to work on her English. She was trying to get finished up, and it was close to when school started. And she'd run into some of the faculty was there, and she'd run into some of the teachers, and we were talking about that and how good it was and how excited she was to go back to school. And we were just driving down the road, chatting, and then there was a moment of silence, and then Lily said, "Mom," and I could tell that she was crying, and I looked over at her, and she had tears running down her face, and she looked at me and she said, "Mom, I'm back. I'm back. I'm really back." And so she, we've decided that if you can just be normal, you're really doing good.
Being back into the normal groove of being a teenager and being back in school and stuff, it definitely felt like a big huge weight is lifted off your shoulders. You just feel extremely happy because you get to see your friends and you get to see just a regular day.
Lily's class nominated her to be their candidate for homecoming queen. So when Lily came home, she was all excited, and we cried. And so one of the first things she said is, "Can we go to Nana and Papa's?" And I said, "Well, sure." She said, "I've got to ask my Papa if he'll escort me."
I have an awesome family. It's made us closer. We spend more time with each other. We talk to each other more, and we're more buddies now than we used to be.
I see Lily totally different than I used to. I see her strength and her character and her joy of life. And she just was so graceful. She wasn't a complainer. She's a tender-hearted, sweet, good girl, and sometimes you see how sweet she is and you don't realize how really strong she is, but she is a fighter.